Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Neil and today we're diving into part 2 of coordinate geometry. Before we jump in, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos on this topic. Okay, without further ado, let's get started. Today I'm gonna talk about midpoint. Imagine that we have a line segment A, B, and we are going to find the midpoint of this line segment, which is M. In fact, point M is halfway between point A and point B, and we can call this midpoint of AB. So AM equals MB, these two parts. So M is the midpoint. And if we want to find the midpoint of AB, we just need to find the average of x's of A and B, x of A and plus x of B over 2, which is the average of them, and the average of y's. As an example, A is 1 and 2, B is 5 and 4. So in order to find M, we just need to find the average of 1 and 5, which is 6 over 2, which is 3. And the average of y is 2 plus 4 over 2, which is 3. So the midpoint is 3 and 3. So we can use this formula for finding the x and y coordinates of a midpoint. Okay. As another example, A is -1 and -2, M, the midpoint, has coordinates -1 over 2 and 2.5. And we are looking for the coordinate of B. Okay, so -1 over 2 is the average of, let's call this x and y, is the average of x and -1. So -1 plus x over 2. And 2.5, which is a mixed number, is the average of -2 and y, the average of y's. So we should solve x and these two equations separately to find the value of x and y. So we can cancel out these twos. So -1 equals -1 plus x, and x equals 0, and then cancel. This is a mixed number. Convert it to 2 times 2, 4, 4 plus 1 is 5. And now I'm going to cancel out these twos. So 5 equals -2 plus y, and y is 7. So far, so good. As another example, example 2, we have straight line, and we have 4 points on this straight line, which are P, Q, R, and S. And P, Q, R, and S, these 4 points are on this straight line, and the distance between successive points are equal in this question. So we know that PQ equals QR equals RS. And we are given that P is 2 and -4, R 5 and A plus 1, and S is -B plus 6. And we are looking for values of A and B. Okay, so we know that PQ and QR are equal in lengths, so we can say that Q is the midpoint of PR. Okay, so Q is, for x coordinate of Q, we should find the average of x's of P and R, which are 2 and 5. So 2 plus 5 over 2. And for y's, the average of negative 4 and a plus 1. If we simplify, 2 plus 5 is 7 halves, and negative 4 and 1 is negative 3. A minus 3 over 2. So Q is midpoint of PR, and this is the coordinate of Q. Okay, and then R is the midpoint of QS. Is the midpoint of QS. Okay, so R is, for x coordinate of R, we should find the average of x's of Q and S. Q is 7 over 2 and S is negative B. So 7 halves minus B over 2. Okay. And let me to simplify this. R is let me to write the coordinates of R. R is 5 and a plus 1. So we know that x coordinate of this equals to 5, and then I'm gonna show with different colors to make sure you understand all of them. Okay, so equals 5, and then a minus 3 over 2 plus 6 over 2 equals to a plus 1. So if we use cross multiplication, 5 times 2 is 10 equals 7 halves minus b. So bring b to the left side of the equation and change the sign. So b is 7 minus 20 is negative 13 over 2. This is the value of b. And the same story for this. Cross multiplication. So 2 times a plus 1 equals a minus 3 over 2 plus 6. So 2a plus 2 equals to 6 times 2 is 12. 12 minus 3 is 9. So 9 plus a over 2, and 2a minus a over 2 equals 9 over 2 plus 2. So 3a over 2 equals to 13 over 2. So 3a is 13 and a is 13 third. Okay, and this is the value of A. But I made a mistake here. -2. 5/2. So A is 5/3. Okay, perfect. So far, so good. And now we are going to talk about gradient or slope. The gradient or a slope of a line is a measure of its steepness. Imagine that we have two straight lines. The first one is called D, and the second one is here, D prime. So call this case 1, and this is case 2. In fact, we can draw a horizontal line, and we can see that we have an angle here, which is called alpha. And if we draw another horizontal line here, we can make another angle, which is beta. And as you can see, the size of angle of beta is bigger than alpha, and you can see that the steepness of D is larger than the steepness of D prime. In fact, line D is steeper than D prime. So we found that the gradient of line D is larger than the gradient of D prime. And now, how can we find the gradient of any straight line? For example, we have a straight line right here. Okay, and if we choose any two different points on the line, like A and B, and imagine that one person is gonna move from point A to point B. So this person should move from A to B. So with a horizontal step, which is a positive value because that person should go 3 units to the right. So a positive horizontal step. And then move 2 units up, which is positive again. So vertical step. In fact, by dividing horizontal step by vertical step, we can find the gradient of line AB. But because horizontal step and vertical step are both a positive value, so we call this type of lines forward sloping. And the gradient of such lines is positive. So with positive gradient. Okay, and how about this one? Okay, so I'm gonna draw plot another 2 points, this one and this one. Okay, this point A to point B. So someone is gonna move from point A to point B this way. Okay, so first of all, we have horizontal step moving to the right side, okay, which is positive horizontal step, and then go down as vertical step. So this is negative. And because horizontal step and vertical step doesn't have equal sign, so we call this backward sloping. So in this case, gradient is negative. Okay, so in general, we can use this formula for finding the gradient of any line. Vertical step over horizontal step, which is y step over x step. So how can we find y step or x step without plotting points and counting the units? So you just need to subtract y's, which is the difference of y's, and subtract x's, which is the difference of x's. But make sure that if you start from point B and then point A for y's, for difference of y's, so in the denominator you should start from B again and then subtract A from B. So they are in the same order to find the exact sign of your gradient. Okay, so I'm gonna solve an example to make sure that we understand all the process. We have point A, 5 and negative 3, and point B, negative 4 and 8. And I'm gonna find the gradient of A, B. Okay, I'm gonna use formula and then plotting these 2 points to check whether we worked correct or not. Okay. We have 5 and negative 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and negative 3. This is point A, and B is negative 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. This is point B, and now I'm gonna draw a line that passing through these 2 points. So far so good, and we need to move from A to B or B to A. So I'm gonna start with B, and first of all, horizontal step, and then let me count: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, positive 9, and then vertical step, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 down. So the gradient is negative 11 over positive 9, which is negative 11 ninths, the gradient. And how about using formula? So the gradient of AB with formula. Okay, difference of y's, I'm gonna start from this to this, 8 minus 3 minus 3 over negative 4 minus 5. So the answer is positive 11 over negative 9. So you can see that these two are exactly the same, which is the gradient of A, B. So far so good. Okay. Consider that we have 2 lines. One of them is a horizontal line and another one is the vertical line. Okay. For example, we are walking on the ground, so there is no steepness here. So the gradient of this line, let's call this line D, the gradient of line D is 0 because we are walking on the ground and there is no steepness. And how about this one? Imagine that you are climbing up the wall, so it's not easy at all. So you need some equipment to climbing up the wall. So the gradient of this line, if this line is D prime, so the gradient of D prime is undefined. And we can prove that the gradient of horizontal line is 0. Imagine we have 2 points, point A and point B. So the gradient of AB equals to. So the difference of y's, which is 0, and the difference of x's is 2 units. So the gradient is 0 because the numerator is 0. So we prove that the gradient of D or any horizontal line is 0. And how about this case? Point A going to point B. So the gradient of AB equals to difference of y's is 2 unit, positive or negative, it doesn't matter, but because we are going up, so positive 2, and then x step is 0, or the difference of x's. So this is undefined because the denominator of this fraction is 0. This fraction is undefined. So in xy plane, x-axis and y-axis, the slope of any x-axis or horizontal line is 0, and the slope of any vertical line or y-axis is undefined, which is really important. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you found this one helpful, hit the like button and stay tuned for part 3, where we'll go further into coordinate geometry. See you in the next one. Bye bye.